Hi, Matt here from Matt Holman Golf. I just really want to talk to you about the grip today. How can we have that perfect grip? Is there a perfect grip? Is a great question. But look, I think for most amateur golfers, we really see 95% of golfers having the same sort of grip makes good golf nearly impossible, to be honest. And they end up with this sort of what we call sort of palm grip, weak grip. So let's get in closer and I can sort of show you what I tend to see. So we look at this left hand here, front hand. We tend to see the hand too much under. So I'm exaggerating a little bit now. And if we get in from the other view here, what we tend to see is a grip sort of very high up in the hand. That feels really strong. Feels like you've got a strong hold on the grip there. The problem with that, you've got no chance of good golf. Puts a lot of tension in the hand. What happens is, I'll get in close and do this, but what will happen is the club face from that grip will get very, very open. So now we're in that sort of, the grip's under, it's too much in the palm, you're holding on now very tightly because the club feels like it's twisting. Makes it impossible to use our wrist correctly in the backswing. Ideally we have some sort of set and hinge and we hold this angle coming down as we start to talk about different concepts. And from that sort of palm weak grip there, the face is open, we can't hinge the wrists at all, we can't hold any angle. And then from there, that ball's extremely weak, extremely to the right, and now we're in that sort of slice pattern there. Now I teach lots and lots of beginners, maybe 100 to 200 a year in groups here up in Sweden. Really interesting. If we can get your grip right early on, get you nice and relaxed, a few key concepts, there's no reason why naturally you won't want to swing more on plane, more from the inside. So, what does that grip look like? For me, great starting point. Let's give you a relatively neutral grip. There is not one perfect grip out there. Guys link the hands differently, which we can talk about in a second. Some have a bit more turn in the hand, someone like a Dustin Johnson, one of the great players back in the day, a Lathabelle, a brilliant short game player, slightly more turned under grip. But there is a boundary, and on the whole, the pros are within a much smaller region, if we said from 1.5 knuckles to 3.5, and the average guy I'm teaching struggling with their golf, higher handicap above 9, we're seeing sort of a 1 knuckle and a very much a palm grip. So look, couple of key points in here. Let's get in close. Great little drill, often work on. Hold the shaft at 45 degrees, and then from there we build in that grip. So what I'm looking to see is the shaft to run diagonally across the fingers. It's going to go through the middle joint of the index to the bottom of the little finger there. So there is some palm, but you can see it's largely a finger's grip. Now all of a sudden we have this little pad here. Critical that pad sits on top. So common for that pad to sit on the side again in the palm, and you'll be the guys that get your holes in your grip or in the glove, regularly. So make sure we get it more in the fingers, and I'll often draw lines on a glove there so they know where to place it. Pad goes on top, and now we would look round from this side. We want to see a good 2 knuckles in the left hand, 2.5, line between the thumb and index finger. We don't want any gaps, and we want that line nicely on the right shoulder. And then from there, we're going to go and build in a backhand or a right hand. A few different options. We can go baseball, especially if you're just learning. Maybe you have arthritis or you smaller hands, weaker golfer. This is an option. The critical is the positioning rather than the linkage. We can, really good for, again, slightly smaller hands, interlocking. But we've had some great golfers there, Tiger, Rory, Jack Nicklaus, so that's certainly going to work for you. Or we can place what we call the Varden grip, the little finger of the backhand over the index of the left hand. Now, all those can work for you. The critical thing is the positioning of your hands. So we've talked quite a lot about the left hand, and that right hand's the same now. So let's swap round the other side now. So now I build in that right hand. Again, we're in the diagonal, it's in the fingers. I'll often grip with the left hand, I'll check that right hand, we slide it in place there and then build the fingers around. You can see also I have a bit of a trigger going on there. Look at this top finger up here. So it's not sort of round and the same. I have this little gap there placed. It creates this slight sort of little ridge out there, little sort of hook. Very light through those fingers. We're not sort of using that to grip on to the golf club. And then the positioning of those hands, that line going through the thumb and index finger, pretty much matching on that right shoulder. So for me, that's a great place to start. If you're going to make the mistake, especially if you're a slicer of the ball, club face is getting open, let's make the mistake with a little bit more or too much turn under, left hand over, right hand under to start with. What that will do for you is give you a slightly more closed club face for the hit, which is what we want ideally. We want to develop that draw. Now look, of course, if you've got too much of a big draw hook going on, could be a smart play to work the hand slightly more under and over. Certainly check your grip, make sure it's in a neutral position. If you are in a neutral place, I wouldn't recommend to work that grip weaker and weaker. I think it would be much smarter then to maybe actually look at how the club face works throughout the swing, especially at impact.